Hello and welcome to the Stash Down Diaries. My name is Jen and I am a knitter, and my YouTube channel is all about all of my knitting projects and plans with a focus on using up my stash. And today is the first video of the month, which means I have to do a little Stash Down update. If you're new here, I'm coming to you from beautiful Cape Breton Island in Atlantic Canada, where I live with my dog and two cats, Piper and Ginny and Maisie. They usually try to make appearances from time to time or create a ruckus while I'm recording, but right now the only one who's here is Piper, and she is just chilling out on the futon for now, so we will see how this goes. I bought the kittens, I guess they're not kittens anymore, a window perch for their first birthday, which was April 1st. And one of them is sleeping on that downstairs, and the other one is in the front window having a snooze as well. So hopefully they won't wake up and start terrorizing things while I'm trying to record. So, acquisitions, none. So I will get into my little stash down update for March. Let's see, where are we here? This is my handy dandy notebook. So for the month of March, I knitted mostly Malabrigo March projects, and there's a couple of finished projects that are socks that I will talk about in this video because I just finished them like right at the end of March. Anyway, so I knitted a taro pouch, a couple of beanies, a headband, and a little scarflet, and then a couple of pairs of socks, and that worked out to be 505 grams. And then I had to purchase some, actually no, I didn't have to purchase yarn. I purchased yarn for my birthday, and then I had to purchase another pair of Briggs & Little Tuffy because that's one of the main colors that I use for heels, cuffs, and toes when I knit socks that I sell to coworkers and fellow search and rescue team members. So I had to purchase one of those. So for 3 skeins of yarn, it was 328 grams in, which means my balance for the month of March is a negative 177 grams. So more out than in again, and that adds to my total for the year so far that I am negative 1,235 grams for so far in 2024. So that is pretty good. I did have to order some yarn, so I will have acquisitions next time, but I don't think it will put me more in than out for the month of April. I don't think. You'll see what I'm working on and you will understand why. So a few works in progress that I've been working on that I never got to were my Mosaic Musings shawl and a couple of my scrappy blankets I haven't worked on, but I have been working on other wonderful things. And I will start with my finished objects. And I guess this is a good place to start because then I can talk about my theme of the month, because I like to do kind of a theme. I have my overarching theme of the year is the year of the garment. So I'm always going to have a garment on my knitting needles for 2024. No doubt that'll probably carry over into 2025 because I still have some sweater quantities to use up and I can't see myself using them up all in 2024. So that will probably continue. And I do want to knit more garments because I have so many shawls and so many pairs of socks. I want to get into more garment knitting for my family members. I've knit sweaters for the little ones, but there are more people in my family that I think I kind of want to knit sweaters for. My mother, I'm going to cast on a vest for her very shortly. I will talk about that in a bit, but so then I like to have another little micro theme for each month, and this month, for the month of April, is going to be knitting my 2023 stash. So when I purchase yarn, I kind of want to have it knit up in a timely fashion, and a lot of it was that I purchased last year, actually most of it that I purchased last year, was knit up, and some of it was knit up completely. Especially if it was fingering weight, it ended up in scrappy blankets and was completely just used up. But I had a few, and I put them in this basket so that I could easily access them. that I didn't knit up yet. So I have some Briggs and Little Sport. So I'm going to do socks with those. And this is West Yorkshire Spinners Croft Aran. I love this yarn. I'm going to talk about this in a second because I had another skein of it and I knitted it. So it's excellent. So this was a yarn purchase that was retail therapy, I will call it, because of, you know, sad things happen and sometimes you need pretty yarn to cheer you up a little bit. And I had trouble picking a project for this, but I finally picked one, so I'm going to knit this. And then I have, this was a Christmas gift, this Timber Yarns. So I'm going to knit a pair of socks for myself with this. And I started with another skein of West Yorkshire Spinners, the Croft Aran Tweed. I love this. I think the name of this colorway is Hillswick. And I knit the Checkerboard mitts by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. And this is a wonderful squishy yarn. I don't know how to describe it. It's like not tightly spun, so it's a little bit lofty, which I love, and it's a little bit rustic, which I also love. I want a sweater out of this. I think a sweater out of this would be amazing. And it seems to heat up the hands fairly quickly. Like, this is getting really warm. But yeah, this was a pattern that I had already purchased, so I'm happily trying to target patterns that I've already purchased and yarns that I've already purchased, and it's really satisfying when two of them pair up so nicely. And if you watched my knitting story video that I published last weekend, you'll know that I really have a thing for fingerless mitts. So this is another pair for me. And I'm contemplating what I'm going to knit with the other, here it is, with this ball of Croft Aran. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to look up some stuff, but I'm contemplating knitting just another pair of these and giving them to a family member, but we shall see. If I don't find something that I really want to knit, then that's what this will be. And then I'll put this color together with the scraps of this color and do something else, maybe a cute little gnome out of these two colors. That would be great. Anyway, so yeah, Checkerboard mitts by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. Absolutely love these. This was my first project of my targeting my yarn, my 2023 yarn stash for this month. Continuing on with my hashtag saltwater stash down, I finished a pair of socks from Saltwater Socks. I am in round 2 of my saltwater stash down, so I'm knitting the second pattern in each book. And I did skip over classics and gifts to go to socks because at the time I was knitting a couple of hats for Malabrigo March, and the 2 patterns in the other 2 books were hats. So I was like, do I want to knit a couple more hats when I'm already knitting on hats? So I just skipped over, went for the Soundwave socks. And I'm glad I did. And now I'm happily, you will see, happily knitting on a hat. So here they are. The yarn that I used is Comfort Vola for the heels, cuffs, and toes. And I have some scraps of Crazy Zauberball. This yarn had been in my stash forever, like, I don't know, 2023, 2024. I do love Crazy Zauberball. And so I was just tickled that I had the yarn in my stash to do these socks because since it's like, you know, the saltwater stash down, if I don't have the yarn to do the project, then I'm gonna do a different project. Or yeah, I think what I decided is that I will go back and knit a second of like the previous round or something, or knit 2 more of one of the other patterns in the round. So yeah, but yeah, happily had yarn in my stash for these. and I love them. These ones are mine. I'm kind of alternating knitting socks for myself and knitting socks for other people. So I finished these for myself, and my next FO will be a pair of socks that I knitted as a gift. So I will bring those up right now. They were just blocked, so the yarn is still, the ends are still dangling from them. I don't cut my ends until after I block, just in case they pull as the yarn relaxes, in case the ends pull a bit. So I wait until they are blocked. Anyway, so these are going to be a birthday gift for my niece. They are the Freddy Beach Socks by Nancy Wheeler. They were one of those patterns that you're like, okay, just one more repeat, just one more repeat, just one more repeat. So they super satisfying to knit. They just kind of flew because you just want to, okay, I'll do another repeat. And it's a 12-row repeat. So if you're going to be like, yeah, I want to do another repeat, then that's another 12 rows. So yeah, that was enjoyable. And the yarn that I use is Knit Picks Felici in the Summer Camp colorway. So gladly using up some of my Felici stash. It's like there's some that has just been there forever. So anyway, and I knit this as part of Nancy's Knit Zip Happy knit along. She was doing a knit along with her sock patterns for it was February 17th to the end of March, and I got these finished just under the wire on like March 30th. So that is those. Yeah, so this is Summer Camp in Felici, and then the contrast color is Patina, I think it's called, but it's also by Knit Picks in their Stroll base, which is, oh, look at the freaking Ginny hair. Oh, that's Maisie hair on the sock. God. Anyway, yeah, so that's, I get animal glitter on my knitwear. My family doesn't mind because they all also have animals, especially dogs. Everybody has dog. I think I'm the only one right now with cats. But yeah, everybody has at least one dog. So yeah, that is those. So my last regular video, I mentioned, well, several videos, I mentioned that I wanted to knit an emotional support chicken. And Easter weekend, that was my Easter weekend project. And I am going to introduce you to Belina. I love her. So I named her Belina after the chicken in Return to Oz that, I don't know if you've seen it. It is a Disney horror flick. It's not really horror. I call it that because it terrifies me. But it's a different movie. Not in the same lighthearted vibe as, actually, Wizard of Oz really isn't that lighthearted. It's all terrifying if you think about it. But Return to Oz, things that terrify me, the Wheelers, number one. The Asylum, big time. Nobody, listen, you put an asylum in a movie, one of those old-timey asylums, terrifying. That's why I like season 2 of American Horror Story is the worst. But anyway, so there's that. And then there's the, I don't know if she's a queen or whatever who can remove her head. It's the movie, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it for, I don't know, just the experience of it. But anyway, Belina, that's her name. And she is my emotional support chicken. Emotional support chicken is by Annette Corsino of the Knitting Tree LA. And one thing that's absolutely great about this pattern is that they have a YouTube tutorial. And I had to reference the YouTube tutorial for this crochet join right here because I'm not a crocheter. And there are other options, like you can just seam it together, sew it. But I really liked the look of the crochet join, so that is what I went with, and that is where I referenced the video. There was another point where I should have referenced the video because they just kind of say start here and attach the bottom piece, and I was like, man, I wish they had more pictures of that or whatever. And then it was like, you could have referenced the video, Jen. I just completely forgot, but it worked out. I did fine with it. Now, when I was knitting this, I started to seam it. Okay, so you seam the tail, and I did that, and then it's like start at this point and seam the body. And so I seamed it, and then I was looking at it, and I'm like, huh, I thought this chicken was supposed to be a little more plump than she is. And I looked at my coffee table, and this piece was sitting on my coffee table. So I just undid the seam and grabbed this piece and added it on. And yes, she is way more plump now, which is squishy. So the yarn. So this one, this is Nerds with Needles Unicorn Hair, and I had this in my stash for 2 or 3 years and just waiting for the perfect project for it. I didn't want to knit socks out of it because I didn't want that color to be hidden on my feet. And then I didn't want to knit another shawl. I couldn't see myself wearing this color as a shawl because I already have like fun colors of shawls. I have a lot of shawls. Like it's a little bit ridiculous. So I thought it'd be great to do it in the chicken because I'm going to be keeping this chicken around. I'll be able to look at this yarn a lot. So yeah, that is what I chose, and I held it double with a 3rd strand of Cascade Heritage Solids in the snow colorway. That is like kind of my go-to for a white fingering weight to hold with other yarns. I knit a whole, this blanket right here, actually. This one here is held, the Heritage is held with like the scrappy yarns, the fingering weights. And this one, she's got some bling. So that is Crazy Piette. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a sequiny yarn. Anyway. So I put the sequins in her comb, in her wattle, and in the stripes that are, so this yarn here is Cyborg's Craft Room in the Sparkleate base. So it has Selena. So I just held the sequin stuff in with it for a little more bling for her. And then this one is Cape Breton Highlands. I think it's my leftover Handmaiden Casbah, maybe? I'm not sure. But it's either Fleece Artist or Handmaiden in one of their fingering weight bases, held with a strand of the Cascade Heritage. So there she is. And I had the eyes in my stash. I will most likely be knitting a few of these, maybe for family members. So I'm so happy with her. And so Nerds with Needles, that is a dyer that is local to me here in Nova Scotia, and I have knit with them before. Highly recommend. They have some great colors, and I like the themes of their yarns. They're, as you know, the name suggests, a lot of the colors are inspired by like nerdy fandoms, like Star Wars, Harry Potter, like all of those kind of things, Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. So anyway, Dungeons and Dragons, that too. So there she is. There's Belina, and I love her. And I have to try to keep her safe from the dog, because if the dog gets hold of her, the eyes will go first, and then once the eyes go, she'll get into the stuffing and remove it piece by piece. So she must be protected at all costs. Next, I have a few works in progress, and the first one I'm going to talk about is part of round 2 of hashtag Saltwater Stash Down, and it is out of this book, Saltwater Classics, and it is this hat right here, the moose cap. I'll move my hand so you can see the name of the authors, Christine and Shirley, who, if you are on Facebook, there is a saltwater, I think it's called Saltwater Knitting, but it's a Facebook group, and they are in there. So they love to see your finished projects and stuff. And yeah, so this is the pattern, and I will show you what I've been doing with it. I've been knitting it out of Briggs & Little Heritage, and I went with like kind of a earthy color story. So this is light brown. I think this color is bleached white. This green right here is khaki, and then I think that's just called dark brown. I'm not sure. I wonder if I put the label in the middle. Sometimes I am super keen and I do that. No, I did not. I think it's dark brown. And then, yeah, here's the khaki. So I have knit one of these before. You would have seen it in a previous video. I make the ribbed brim a little longer because I like a chunkier brim. It's just better for this climate to have a little more warmth there. And yeah, I'm only on the feet. You can do this with just 3 colors. This color right here is usually matched to the mousse, but I thought a little extra woodsiness, a little green, would just add a little something something, you know? So that is all I have to say about that. I think I went down a needle size. I think it recommends a 4.5 millimeter. I am using a 4 millimeter. Oh, and this was knit with this bottom part, 3.5 millimeter, I think. Yeah, or 3 millimeter. I can't remember. So the brim is knit with a smaller needle. And then it's supposed to go up to a 4.5 millimeter, but I went to a 4 millimeter because the last one I knit came out pretty big. So I decided that I would knit it on a smaller needle this time. And we will see how it goes, how it turns out. It should be fine. I do enjoy like the fabric a little bit better. I like this. It's like, it seems like it's going to be a nice rugged hat, you know? So that is that. And so that's part of round 2 of hashtag Saltwater Stash Down. And when I finish this one, I have one more hat to knit out of round 2, and then it'll be on to round 3, which is super fun. So Jen, did you finish the yoke on that sweater finally? Well, yes. Yes, I did. And here it is. I have a yoke. I did not start the body yet though. So it's all cast off. So this is the Winter Saal by Jennifer Steingast, and I didn't like the neck on it. So I looked at other people's projects on Ravelry. And I was looking for peoples who did the ribbing. Quite a few people did ribbing for the neckline because, like me, they weren't too fond. Like, it was just too big. I put it on over my head and it was just too big. I know that things may change when it blocks. It might grow, so then it'd be even bigger. Well, yeah. So the nice thing about this is that it's knit from the bottom up. So if I don't like the neckline after I block it, if it doesn't fit me right, if it's wonky, I can just rip it back and reknit it differently. I was wondering maybe if I should decrease a little more before doing this. Or, well, what I did is when I went down a needle size. Well, basically, when I was knitting this, of course, as you're decreasing stitches, it was getting harder to knit on the cable needle that I was knitting it on. And the stitches were like kind of getting stretched. So I went looking for another 4.5 millimeter needle on a smaller cable. And I was looking at my interchangeables, and the 4.5 millimeter was somewhere, and I was going to go look for it and take it off and put the stoppers on and everything. But then I was like, why not? Like the 4 millimeter is there. Why not use that for the ribbing? Because I usually go down a needle size for ribbing anyway. So I tried that, and we'll just see. Like, I don't know after I block it if it's going to be wonky or what. I will see how it fits, but I have peace of mind knowing that I can just change it easily. So the next step with this is to rip out the provisional cast on and put it on needles and knit down the body. So anyway, yeah, there's my floats. I usually pick up my floats on the next round and just pop them onto the needle and knit them together with the next stitch. I used to catch my floats while I was knitting, but I found that made my balls of yarn get twisted around each other and everything, so I just find it easier to do it on the next round. So that is that. It's knit out of Let Lopey yarn. I've always wanted a Lopey sweater, and hopefully this will be it. Hopefully it'll fit me okay. If it doesn't, I'll give it to a family member and knit another one. Just more knitting. It's fine. I want to knit. So that is that. This is probably going to hibernate for the next week because I have to go away for work for a week, and I'm probably only going to bring socks with me to work on. All right. Yeah, so I have to pick out some yarns to cast on because I don't have any socks cast on at the moment, which is, oh, I do actually. I have a pair to sell that are cast on, and I haven't worked on them a bit, so it'd be good to get those finished. But okay, next work in progress. This one was kind of impromptu. I started knitting a blanket. Okay, that other ball of yarn is kind of lost under the futon. I don't think I can reach it back. Oh, wait. There we go. Here it is. So like I said, I purchased one of those window perch things for my cats to sleep on. And I wanted to make them a blanket for it. And so I started knitting this. This is a Stash Buster blanket. Like most of these yarns were leftovers from sweaters that I knit. The only one that wasn't is the Knit Picks Chroma Worsted. That was one that was just like sitting in my stash. I was going to use it for a pair of mitts, and then I decided that I didn't want to use this color for the mitts, and then it just sat. So that one I thought I'd hold it double with some Cascade that was left over, and then these two were left over from kids' sweaters, so I'm holding the, and I knit this side until I ran out of one of the yarns, and so that kind of decided how big it was going to be. But then I found this like crochet blanket that I rescued from Value Village some years ago, and it was just in my linen closet. So I found that and I was like, oh, well, I might as well use that because it's not being used. But okay, so here's what happened. I ordered the perch, it was supposed to go in here, but it's too big for this window. Like the suction cups, the window's too short. Like the suction cups don't match up. Like they're too wide apart to fit on this window. So I put it down in the dining room, which is a great spot for it because a lot of the birds are like in the hedge in the back of the house. So the cats watch the birds from there. And so I ordered another kitty condo because there's still the issue of one of them comes in here while I'm sitting and knitting, and they take the kitty condo, and then the other one comes in and she's like looking up at the kitty condo and putting her paws up, and well, one of them does, Ginny actually kicks Maisie out of the kitty condo because like it's funny because she's the smaller cat and she's just like just kicks her sister out of there. But anyway, so I ordered another kitty condo, long story short, and this blanket will go there. So this is the Kitteh cat blanket, Kitteh, Kitteh cat. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. I'm basically using the pattern just as inspiration. I used whatever yarn and needle size I kind of wanted to, but just kind of looked at the pattern for when they do the increases and decreases and what type of increases and decreases they use and whatnot. So that is the pattern that I used, and it is by Thomsen. So happily, this is a great stash buster, and it hopefully will keep me in the more grams out portion because I did order 4 skeins of yarn. But there's a reason for that, which I will show you in a moment. But yeah, that is that little blanket for their kitty condo, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to knit another one. I have a lot of worsted that I want to use up. That is the scraps that don't get enough attention because I'm mostly knitting fingering weight scraps, and I have a blanket that's DK weight scraps, so I need to do something about my worsted weight scraps, and this was a really great start. So now, Jen, why did you have to purchase yarn? The reason is this. This is the reason. Oh, that is the, there. So this is my fire season blanket. I am knitting it 4 rows a day, although I am behind, as you can see. It started on March 15th because that is when our fire season starts, and our fire weather stations are up and running to collect the weather data. Although still not all of them are up and running yet because there's still snow up in the Highlands. And right now, the start of the year, it's always low. So what I did, I assigned a color to 0, and then anything above 0 is the color of low, which is blue, and I chose this shade of blue. It's a non-conventional, so like the colors, if you look on our website, are primary colors, just, you know, the regular colors of the rainbow. But I wanted to use these yarns that I purchased in 2023 at Deanne Fitzpatrick Studio. Some of them are her exclusive colorways. At least this one is not. This Briggs & Little Heritage right here, I can purchase down at the co-op, which is why I chose, part of the reason why I chose that one for 0, because I knew there'd be quite a bit of 0, and now there's like quite a bit of low. Now, I still have a number of low days to knit, and this is all I have left. So I put in an order to Deanne Fitzpatrick Studio to order 2 more skeins of this color, which is Northern Sky, and this is dark maroon. So I think 2 will be enough, because by the time I get into later in the season, we'll be seeing more green, more yellow. Hopefully there'll be a little bit of orange and red, although that usually means that the fire weather is extreme, so it's not necessarily good, but it'd be nice to have like a couple of days of those colors. It's, funnily enough, people are more careful later in the summer when it's really dry and the fire weather is extreme. So I know years and years here, it'd be like really extreme. There'd be woods closures, and there'd be no fires because people just make that association. Spring is our busiest time because people are, you know, assuming that things aren't, you know, completely dry yet, but we'll still get days without rain, right? So, but anyway, fire season blanket, Briggs & Little Heritage, ordered more yarn. What else? Oh, I'm using the Garter Chevron blanket, which is a free pattern by Catherine Anderson. So I'm really excited about this, actually. And if you're new here, I'll show you some of the other non-conventional colors that I'm using. So Super Gold, that's not the name of it, it's called Gold. This is Melon, which is a Deanne Fitzpatrick color that I purchased in 2023, so that one will get used up. And I love this one. This is another one from Deanne Fitzpatrick that I purchased in 2023. It is called Folly Mountain Spruce, and I want a sweater out of this, but I'm going to knit some sweaters with yarn that I already have first before I do that. And then I have Light Maroon, which is a regular Briggs & Little colorway, and this one is going to be the extreme one. So Folly Mountain Spruce is going to be moderate. This is, right now, moderate, high, very high, and then Light Maroon is going to be extreme. So that is my fire season blanket. And I think that is it for today. So like I said, I'm going to the mainland for work all week. I have to drop my animals off at my parents'. There's a possibility that I might be turning around next week and going right back to the mainland for training. This week I'm helping with training. Our fire crews do a training week every year. So, well, not every year. They started last year. This is the second year, and it's awesome. So I'm helping with that this week. So I won't have a video next weekend, which I think is fine because I won't be working on too much. A lot of my poor projects, my winter saw, I might finish the cat blanket tonight actually. My fire season blanket, which I should bring, but it's just so bulky. Like all this stuff is going to get neglected for the next week. I'm just going to bring socks. So it's fine that there's not going to be a video next weekend because I won't have a whole lot to talk about. Yeah. And then the weekend after that, because yeah, I don't know if I'm even going to be at my house next weekend because if my animals are at my parents' house and I have to turn around and go back to the mainland, I'm just going to stay at my parents' house with my animals. Give my parents a reprieve from the babysitting. So, yeah. So I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Until then, take care, keep on crafting, and enjoy the spring weather if you have it. Bye.